There are serious consequences to drinking and driving. Hello everyone, this is Dereck Wyatt, lawyer for the people, and our topic today is going to be DWIs and intoxication-related offenses. Now, in the state of Texas, DWIs are taken very seriously. Here in the state of Texas, we've got Mad Mothers watching. We've got safe and sober grants. We've got out for blood programs. We've got forced blood samples. So don't think you're going to drink and drive and get away with it. Now, intoxication offenses run the entire gambit, all the way from a traffic ticket to a first-degree felony. Now, if you're driving down the street, your friend's got an open container, that's a Class C misdemeanor. Your first DWI, your first one, that is a Class B misdemeanor. Your second DWI, or even your first DWI, if it's above a .15 or above, that's a Class A misdemeanor. A DWI with a child passenger who is under 15 is a state jail felony. DWI third, that's a felony. Intoxicated assault, that's a felony, and those are both third-degree felonies. Second-degree felonies is intoxication manslaughter. That's where somebody died. Also a second-degree felony is intox assault if there's traumatic brain injury. And finally, an intoxication offense can be a first-degree felony if it's an intox manslaughter of a police, fireman, or an EMS worker. Now, what does it take for the state of Texas to prove that you are driving while intoxicated? I like to call this the big three. They have to prove you're intoxicated, they have to prove you are operating a motor vehicle, and they have to prove you're in a public place. Now, intoxicated, how do they prove that? They prove that by showing you've lost the normal use of your physical faculties, the normal use of your mental faculties, or your blood alcohol level or your breath alcohol level is above a .08. That's the first thing, intoxicated. Next, you have to be operating a motor vehicle. I didn't say driving a motor vehicle, I said operating a motor vehicle. If you're sitting in your vehicle and you try to start it, that is operating a motor vehicle. And the last element, or the last thing, is it has to be in a public place. And I said public place, I didn't say on a highway. So if you're pulling out of the bar, if you're driving through a public park, or if you're in a shopping center, you are in a public place. So remember that. Intoxicated, operating a motor vehicle, and public place. A lot of people come to me and they say, Dereck, I got arrested for DWI, but I only had one beer. But I took 3 Xanax. Oh, well, here's the law on that. The fact that you're entitled to use medication that contains either alcohol, a controlled substance, a drug, a dangerous drug, or other substance is not a defense to DWI. So if you drink and you take your prescription medication and you get pulled over and you're intoxicated, guess what? You're going to get a DWI. Another popular question is, Dereck, what do I have to do if I get pulled over? Well, one thing you got to do if you're pulled over is show the officer your ID. You see these things on Facebook and YouTube all the time where the person goes, I'm not rolling down my window. Am I under arrest? Am I free to leave? Shit, no, you're not free to leave. You are being detained. So eventually, they're going to get you out of the car. They're either going to drag you out or they're going to break the window. Number 2, if the officer asks you, where you been? Have you been drinking? Remember this, you got the right to remain silent. You don't have to go tell them you were down at the bar. Now, do you have to take field sobriety tests? You know that thing with the pin, the horizontal gaze nystagmus, the walk and turn, and the one-leg stand? You do not have to take those. Also, the breath sample. In the state of Texas, you don't have to take a breath sample, but if you do not get a breath sample, what they're going to do is they're going to go get a blood warrant signed and they're going to forcibly draw your blood. The one advantage that may have for you is it takes a long time to go through all that paperwork, and heck, maybe before then, your blood alcohol level's below the legal limit. Another thing people say to me all the time is, Dereck, I just can't do probation. I'd be horrible at probation. How much do I have to do if I did jail time instead? Well, I'm going to give you the minimums in the state of Texas, all right? On your first DWI, there's a minimum of 72 hours. The law says 72 hours. It doesn't say 3 days. DWI open container, minimum of 6 days. DWI second or DWI greater or equal to a 15, 30 days. DWI child passenger, that is a felony. It's a minimum 6-month state jail. DWI third or intox assault, 2 years minimum in prison. Intox manslaughter, minimum 2 years prison. Aggravated assault, which pertains sometimes to a DWI, minimum 2 years in prison. And an intox manslaughter, where you've killed a police officer, fireman, or EMS worker in the course of their duty, the minimum is 5 years. Now, I'd like to leave you with some final words of wisdom. DWIs these days are a business. The rate of conviction is staggering. And why is that? Well, number one, society takes it much more seriously. Number two, evidentiary-wise, the state really has you. They usually have you with a video video alongside of the road, you know, the onboard video camera that the police officer has, and they usually have a scientific test to back it up, such as a breath sample or a blood sample. At the end of the day, it is not worth drinking and driving. The consequences are too high, and if you get pulled over, the likelihood is that you're going to be convicted. Good luck, take a cab, get Uber, have a good time, stay alive.